Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Ayleen, and welcome to today's medicine walk. It's a little bit chilly here today because we have the carpets redone here at the office. And so between, just letting everything settle and, oh, hold on just a second. And let's make sure that's all the way down and that's all the way down. Sorry, I've got two computers going again. So anyway, so because we had all that done, we've got to have the doors open and the AC blowing and all of that. So it's a little bit chilly in here today, but that's okay. So occasionally I'm going to be glancing over here at the other computer where I've got the comments open. So if you have any comments or anything during the live stream and you want to post them, then I will respond to them during the live stream. So anyway, hi. It is, I guess, really fitting to be talking about abundance, and especially here in the States. For those of you who are from outside of the country, this week is when everybody has to pay income taxes or file their extensions or whatever. But it is a time when people are really, really, really focused on on those pieces of abundance, and it brings it really very much to the head of our minds, because it's all about how much we have and how much we have to pay, and all of the things that relate to I make my money and then it's gone, and concerns about abundance, because there are a lot of concerns about abundance for a lot of different people. And I really wanted to address this because this is something that can cause a lot of stress in the bodies, minds, and spirits of all of us. So looking at abundance, well, and also remember, abundance is kind of subjective. What is tremendously abundant for one is really insufficient for another. It all depends on the story you have attached to it. And I've been blessed to have an opportunity to travel a lot of different places, and some of which I've seen a level of poverty that really was, more than I had ever seen here in the United States, especially when I was in Africa. And they manage, they figure it out. There's, I guess, when you're accustomed to something, it doesn't seem quite so overwhelming. And when, and here in the States, we have our levels of poverty, and we have our levels of a lack of abundance, or fear around a lack of abundance. And mostly what we're going to talk about today is that fear of a lack of abundance. And in order to figure out why we're afraid of not having it, it's important to really kind of look at what that word means. I've always thought that it's not so much that anybody wants to win the lottery. People don't want to win the lottery. What they want is to be able to afford the things that they wish they could have, and lottery money would be an awesome way to get it. It would be a very quick and easy way to get it. So it's not about bringing money in. It's about, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. So money is one of the few things that we work so hard to get that we are immediately planning on how we're going to get rid of it once we have it. It's sort of like buying a big, beautiful house and suddenly saying, well, I've got the big, beautiful house. Now, how can I get rid of it? Money is, some people refer to it as green energy. Some people refer to it as just a resource. To some, it's a means to an end. To others, it symbolizes success. To some, it means if I have this, and I have this particular level of wealth at whatever benchmark that I decide arbitrarily, that means that I am a worthwhile person. That means that I have achieved in my life that can be seen by others. And I can surround myself with things that symbolize somebody who is at my level. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting a nice house and maybe a big car or a little sporty car or all those things that symbolize, traditionally symbolize abundance. And the same can be said for if somebody has a lack of abundance, then socially or in their mind, their story may be that because of my lack of abundance, I am not as worthwhile a person. Because of my lack of abundance, I am not on the same level as the people around me. And that can bring in shame, that can bring in, a lot of very hard feelings. And I think one thing that most people have in common is that, you kind of sit and think, wow, I really wish maybe I had a bit more. But most people, as soon as they think about it, if you ask somebody, okay, what would you do if you won $100 million lottery? And they would immediately start ticking off all the things that they would do. Well, I'd pay off all my bills and I'd pay off my house and I'd pay off the house for all my family members and I'd do all of this. And the first thing, it's like, okay, as soon as you've got it, you can start thinking of all these things immediately that you would do to get rid of it, that you would release it. Now, let's say you didn't win the lottery, but let's just say somebody walked up to you and said, hey, I'm going to offer you a job that whatever it is that, the amount of money that you need to live, I'm going to quadruple it. And, you'll do this work, but you're going to get paid this amount. Well, then, no, it's like, well, I don't care about the lottery then, I'm going to go with that. So it's not so much what we get, it's what we want to do with it. It's not so much that people want to win the lottery as it is that people want to have the funds to be able to do the things they want to do. And in most cases, it just comes down to feeling safe. It comes down to saying, you know what, I don't have to worry about anybody taking something away from me. I don't have to worry about whether or not I can keep a roof over my head. I don't have to worry whether or not my kids can go to college. It makes us safe. And when we feel abundant, we feel safe. And keep in mind, abundance, financial abundance is only one type of abundance. Abundance can come in a lot of different packages. We have our abundance of friends. We have an abundance of people who love us. And, maybe you don't feel it, maybe you don't see it, but I'm pretty sure that there are people that care about you and love you very much. And sometimes that's hard to see. Sometimes that's hard to be aware of. And sometimes we even push that away. But know that there are people who care about you. And that is an amazing abundance. Because there's a lot of people who are alone in the world. And maybe if they could reach out to some of the people that are close to them, to some of the people who really do care about them, then they wouldn't feel quite so alone. So when we are surrounded by an abundance of support, that helps us feel safe. Even if the finances aren't that good, because, a lot of people are in tough financial straits, I know how that goes myself. But even when, it's like checking the couch cushions for enough change to, put 1 or 2 gallons of gas in the car. If I had somebody that I could sit and talk about it with, somebody who, put their arm around my shoulder and say, hey, you know what? It's tough now, but let's talk about all the stuff we're going to do when this passes. One day our ship is going to come in. And somebody who can be there for you, even a lack of abundance, of financial abundance, is not so big and scary when you've got somebody there by your side who can sit and talk it through with you and who you feel has your back. Because that's one of the things that's really cool about being communal creatures. And we are communal creatures. That when we have a community, that even during the bad times, they're there for us and we're there for them. And somehow when we can all see through the storm together, it makes it a lot easier. So don't discount an abundance of friends, because when things get bad, It's those people that are closest to us that whether maybe they can help out financially or maybe they can't. But even if they can't help you out financially, they can be there to stand by you, to say, hey, don't worry, come over and have dinner. You can have dinner at my house, or maybe you can stay on their couch, or depending on what the circumstances are. But sometimes deep down we realize that, these times, they've been bad before, they'll be bad in the future. It's just a matter of making it through. But having somebody to go through that with, somebody to talk to, somebody to kid around with you and bolster your spirits, that is an amazing abundance that a lot of the people don't count as that abundance of wealth that we have. When you have a wealth of support, pretty much it's there. You just have to look up past what you're going through and see the people around you who are saying, hey, don't worry, we'll figure it out. You don't have to figure it out alone. There's also the idea of an abundance of faith. And whatever you believe, I honor it for you. I love it for you. And I know that, there's a full spectrum of faith. There's all different ways to view a higher consciousness in the universe that is supportive of you. And, oh, hold on a second. Monica, hi. Hi, Monica. Good to see you. I'm glad you signed in, and hope you're doing well. So when we think about the abundance of faith, I'm a person of faith, and I've had an opportunity to study a lot of different ways of faith, a lot of ways that people relate to spirit. And as far as I'm concerned, I use the term creator because that's just kind of what works for me. And I honestly believe that creator is my best friend. That there is a consciousness in the universe that cares about me, that I matter to. And it's not about, that consciousness making sure that nothing bad or unpleasant ever happens to me. It is about me always realizing that when the bad and unpleasant stuff happens, I'm not alone. And that's an important thing. That's a part of that support. That's an extension of that support, that we understand that we're not alone in the universe. And maybe it's whether it's whatever thought you have around that, or if you think there's absolutely nothing out there, then, maybe you just believe in the concrete nature of, the world as it is, and that if you go out there and you do your best, then ultimately things will work out. So whatever you believe, go with that, embrace it, because that is something that we never run out of. It's always with us. It's always there to encourage us. And whatever you have as your way, when those times get hard, embrace it. And if you don't have a way, then look around and see if something resonates with you. It doesn't matter to me what you believe. I just really encourage you to believe in something, because it's an amazing universe. And I think that there's some very amazing aspects to it, and ways that we can sort of let go and trust that things are going to be okay. So, we got more people logging in. And I can see Michelle. It looks like Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Hope you're feeling well. So anyway, the idea that the abundance that we have, when we look at look at all of the abundance you have. Don't just focus on, okay, I don't have these financial pieces, so therefore I have no abundance. We've got abundance in a lot of different areas. And, yes, we can play the measurement and comparison game of, well, if somebody thinks that, making $50,000 a year would make you the richest person in the world compared to somebody who says, you can't live on $50,000 a year. And somebody goes, heck, I wish I was making $50,000 a year. So the idea of how much is enough really depends on what your background is, what your story is. What is it that doesn't feel enough? And if you don't feel like you have enough, consider asking yourself, what isn't enough? What is insufficient in what you're experiencing? What is it that you're looking for? Be safe. And you're thinking about all the things, well, if I didn't have to worry about monthly bills, if I didn't have to worry about this, there's always going to be something to worry about. The question is, what is it that would make it enough? What is it that would make what you have enough? And kind of go from there. And let's say you want to be able to send your kids to college, which is, that would be a wonderful thing. And if you can't, okay, what would that mean? What does it mean that, they might have to get student loans, or, something else might have to be figured out? There's the optimal world, the way we want it to be, and then there's the part of the world that is the world of reality. Stress exists in the gap between those two, between the world the way we would love it to be and the world the way it kind of is. Things don't always work out the way we planned. And that's been kind of a common theme. And I've been talking to a lot of people lately about the fact that the world did not turn out the way that they planned. And yeah, it does that sometimes. But that doesn't mean it's bad. When, maybe you were expecting a huge tax refund and it turned out you weren't going to get one. Yeah, that's disappointing. And consider what it is that you wanted to do with that. And is there another way to achieve that? There's a lot of different ways to achieve things. It's not so much that we don't have options. It may be that you're not real crazy about what the options are. But we do have more than we think. Consider the idea that, wow, maybe I have as much as I need, I just need to manage it in a different way, which is also possible. If you're not sure if you can, say in the near future, have more, then figure out what you have, and then maybe there's a way to figure out how to manage it better so that you would be able to feel better about it, so that you can feel safe about it. And for something like that, getting really expert advice is never a bad thing. Consult with someone professional who knows about these sorts of things, and consider what they say, consider their advice, because it never hurts to get more information. You don't have to sign up for anything. I'm not saying go out and sign up for anything. You don't have to sign up for anything, but you can get information. You can research on the computer, figuring out, okay, how can I manage these things better? But ultimately, if you're not able to feel safe inside, then no amount of money is going to make you feel safe, because no matter how much you get, there's always going to be that feeling of, well, what about when I lose it? Or what if I lose it? It's not about how much, it's about what that means to you. And and like I said, we would all love to have really nice houses and no bills and all of that stuff. And oddly enough, people who win the lottery often end up in huge financial problems. They got the huge payoff, but within a few years, a lot of them are in financial problems and have lost almost everything. And that's really sad, because somewhere along the line, even that wasn't enough, and it got overwhelming. So when you consider versus what it is that you need, and that means what you need inside of you, what will make you feel safe, what will help you to be able to walk in this world in a gentler way, feeling better about yourself. Like I said, you have abundances that you may not have considered. People who care about you, some sort of belief in something out there that actually cares about you too. I care about you and I've never met you. Well, in some cases, some of you I've met, and it's always so cool to connect with people. But, you know, there's a lot of you out there that I know I haven't met yet. And I look forward to it if the opportunity ever comes up. And you're going to be okay. Abundance is a wonderful thing, but consider all of the abundances you have. Consider the fact that, you know, if you can get up and walk and go out for a walk, that's abundant, because there's a lot of folks who can't. And if you can't, you know, maybe you can at least sit up and, you know, be able to get outside in the fresh air sometime. And that's abundance for those who can't even do that. So when we look at what we have, and yes, there are times when, you know, it just really gets very hard. And it's not about always, oh, well, I'm always in gratitude, because none of us are. Honestly, none of us are always in gratitude. There's always those points when it's like, really, really? But then, you know, it doesn't matter if you go there, just don't pitch a tent. Then we get past it and go, okay, yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. So allow yourself that, but remember that there is a tremendously abundant universe around you. If nothing else, tell yourself, you know what? By this time next year, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to be abundant, or I'm going to have a trip to Europe. By this time next year, I'm not going to be worried about money. And I mean, if you're going to tell yourself a story, tell yourself a good one. And there's no saying, there's no saying that it's not something that you're going to be able to do. It's just dream it first. If you can dream it, if you can conceive it, and you can believe it, then you can achieve it. And it may be hard, and it may not happen right away. And then a lot of it's like, well, it's not happening now. No, it's not happening now, but that doesn't mean it's never going to. You're worried about money now, but that doesn't mean you're always going to. There will be a time when you're not. There will be a time when it gets better, when things change. We do our part, the universe does its part. And whether you believe in that or not, you know, that's okay. If that resonates with you, or if you think, that's, you know, airy-fairy hokum, oh well, believe in it for you. I believe that the universe wants to see you happy. I believe that all the hard stuff that you've gone through is a part of you growing as a person, and that there's a gift on the other side of it, of wisdom and strength, and that ultimately you are going to be taken care of. And I will believe that for you until you can believe it for yourself. But either way, we're going to be all right. There's an abundant world, the abundance that is around you. And realize that it's all about making you safe. And you're going to be safe. Just reach out. Talk to somebody. If you're not feeling safe, talk to someone. But if you can sit and take a breath and realize that the sun is shining outside, or maybe there's been a drought and it starts to rain, that's a part of the abundance. That's a part of our gifts. And you are just as worthy of receiving those gifts as anyone. Let me just check. So, thank you. And for Monica, who logged in, hi. And for everybody else, whoever you are, And I welcome those who are new to this. If this is your first video, I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you got something out of it, and you can check out some of the other ones. And if you enjoyed it, then you can like, share, comment, because I love comments and I answer them, and subscribe, and smile, and take a breath, because it's always more scary in the story that we tell ourselves than it is in the reality. Because in the reality, we're going to be okay. You are loved and you are supported. And I think that's probably all you need to know. I don't know everything. I would never claim to know everything. But I'm constantly learning, and there's been a few things that I've picked up along the way, and if they resonate with you, then great. And if they don't, tell me. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover, please, you can comment either here on YouTube, or you can comment at my Facebook page, Medicine Walk with Dr. Ayleen. So you can let me know what it is you would like me to cover, or if you have a question about this or anything, any of the other videos that I've done. So until next time, I wish you balance and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. Love you. Bye.